Good morning, Bravehearts. So this is day 7. Okay. All right. And I was just going to say, what a lucky number, but it's not. The most luckiest number is number 13, because nobody realizes that 13 is a lucky number, and they took it out of all of the buildings, so there's no number 13, okay, because it's evil. And the reality is there's actually 13 months, and they actually made it into 12 months to actually rule, school, and fool everyone. I just want you to know that everything you've learned is a lie, and there's a little bit of partial truth in there, because when you go in to look at it and you find partial truth, you leave the rest alone, okay? And that's the problem that you have. You know, unless you're going to become a love health detective, you are ruled and screwed for the rest of your life. Who's all been married here? And online, who's all been married? Put your hands up online. Okay, all right. Okay, so everybody's been married. So you weren't married. You just sleep around.
She has not been.
Yeah, but you're with a partner.
I'm committed. Yeah.
You're committed. You should be committed.
And the words are double meanings.
Yes,
Everything is
and understand
double
something.
meanings.
All words are double meanings. And just like saying, okay, we're going to get to this. Today's one a day is to death do us part. Now, everybody thinks that I'm being very negative. I put a skeleton on there. And but the reality is I want to show you something. And we want to keep it really light. Okay? All right? But understand something. Like, sorry. Okay? First of all, don't ever say it again. If you intentionally hurt someone, apologize. I apologize. I will even apologize and say, I apologize that you were offended. Can we talk about it? And if they don't want to talk about it, then I can't learn. But if they want to talk about it, then I can learn and grow, because it could have been something in my voice or a word that I said that they took wrong, or I didn't have it come out right. Okay? All right? Like, there'll be times when I do something and I feel something, or maybe an emotion comes over when I say something, but it's not personal to that person. You know, the reality is that we're too easily offended now, and that's why the 6th extinction is going to happen on this planet. There's been 5 extinctions. Now, the whole human race does not die in an extinction. You do know that, right? And everything they told you was a lie. I hope you know that, right? And I'm not lying to you right now about that. And the reality is that I will say this. I believe that 40% of the population has a good chance of leaving here in the next 7 to 10 years. And the reality is this, you're going to say, wow, that's more people than ever died in all the wars that have ever happened. And I say, yes, that's correct. And the thing is because we're at war with ourselves here first. Okay? And when you're at war with yourself, because you are not yourself, okay, you do not master your emotions, everybody's totally programmed here. The first thing I can tell you, if you want to have a good time on this planet and be abundant on all levels, is you have to learn how to master your mind. And to do that, you need to go to a boot camp like this. Most people will come for the first time and go, oh my God, I do see freedom. I do see the light. I am the light. Okay? They won't have an understanding. They'll have an understanding for the first time. And that's the truth. You can think I'm arrogant, but I'm not. I'm really good at what I do. Would you say that? Yes. Would you say that I've changed your lives in 7 days more than they've been changed in 50 years? Yes. Yeah. So that's the reality. And you know, we all have our gifts, and I want you to stand in the power of your gifts and do not allow anyone to come up against you. It's like people come to me and they go, Dr. Wolfe, why didn't you do a rebuttal with CBC, which is a government TV station, and it's called Marketplace? And why didn't you do that? They said that you murdered 3 people. Well, if I murdered 3 people, would I be in jail? If I ripped people off financially and I stole their money, should they be coming after me? Should there be some kind of legal thing here? Well, no, because it's not true. They would lose their money trying to do it. But they spent over $200,000 trying to do this show against me. Now there was just an independent article done about me so that they kind of reinforce it, because it didn't help. All it did was just fuel me more. So everybody says, well, why didn't you stand up for yourself? Well, the reality is you have to look at everything as a gift. When someone says something to you and they're coming from a negative place, you don't have to accept that. You know, I'm not going to, if it's not true, why should I stand up for myself? And the reality is those people that I'm here to actually train, okay, and help them find their true selves and stand in their power, they already know. I'm only going to get 1% of 1% of the population listening to me or following me, okay, because it comes up against everything. So the reality is this: I'm not going to defend myself for something I didn't do. Well, you know, I'm not. So people say, well, don't you understand? You need to do this, and I know I have an inner standing that I don't need to do this. Okay, they'll go away because you have to understand that the world's full of bullies. Yes, you've got them in your family, you've got them in your house. Okay, so the reality is this: you have to move away from a bully or ignore the bully, right? And I'm not trying to prove to people that I'm right, because I'm not right. I have a different belief system. So meanwhile, and please don't get me wrong, the medical system's not broken, but they are the third leading cause of death in the United States. So when I become the 100th leading cause of death, then I'll take a look at this. Okay? But the reality is I use only natural products, high vibrational products, and I spend most of my time trying to teach people how to find themselves, so that people like CBC, which is a government-funded TV station, okay, all right, okay, all right. So understand this, is that everything that you've been told is a lie, and there will be truth woven through it just to keep you hooked. Okay. Now, the one a day I said today was, "To death do us part." Now, I need you to really understand something. I'm allowed to have an opinion, and if it pisses you off, well, you know, you might want to take a look at it, because I have not. Have I talked down on anyone? No. Understand, CBC will always be there, okay, especially now that Canada is the way it is. It's never going to leave. The billions of dollars that go into this you know, they'll come out with truth, but then they'll come out with whatever they need to. You know, it's a weapon of war. So the reality is this. Let me just first start off with this before. To death do us part. But now I want to do a lead up to it. So maybe people on here will not understand this because they didn't spend 7 days with me. Right? Which has just been torture for you guys. I understand. So the reality is, okay, the reality is here is that every one of you, every relationship that you've decided to get into, because, okay, every one of you, by the time that you were a teenager, you were looking for a new family, yes or no?
Yes.
Now, you were looking for a new family because your parents said they were going to give you unconditional love, which they did until you started to walk and talk and act like them. And they didn't know that you were acting like them, but then you got punished, and they said they're going to give you unconditional love, but now you've been spanked, beaten, physically, emotionally, put in your room, stand in the corner. Nobody's going to love you if you act like this. Well, guess what? Even though I was 2 years old, I should have said, well, yeah, that's why mommy doesn't love you, daddy. Okay, so, because I'm acting like you. So the reality is this, is that we are taught when we get here that it's okay to have unconditional love when you're a baby. And the reality is this, babies, oh my God, you know, like I said before, they can poop on you, throw up on you, keep you up all night. You're not going to get upset because that's unconditional love that you're displaying. But once they start acting like you and mirroring you, that irritates you on a whole new level. But because you're not awake to the fact that those little spirit beings have come to set you free, okay, guess what you do? You go judgment, and then you go jail, and then you put them in jail, and you take away their unconditional love for you and for themselves. So now what happens is, now you're looking for a new family when you're a teenager. So that's why you're so willing, okay? You know, so we've got religion that tries to keep your pants on and tries to tell you that sex is dirty, which sex is not dirty. And religion that tries to keep your pants on. But what if you kept you know how you would keep your pants on? Do you know how all teenagers would keep their pants on? If they had unconditional love for themselves. If they don't have unconditional love for themselves, and understand something, when you were becoming a woman, when you were becoming a man, okay, you wanted someone to get inside of you and fill you up. Okay, when you were a man, you wanted to fill some woman up and be their hero and be the white knight. And this is the Disneyland BS that we've been given. Now, understand, you all had no love for yourself by the time you're a teenager. Okay, you know, I remember when I would go to leave, and I was in around 16, 17, and I remember looking at a mirror on the way out, and I'd go and I'd just see how I looked. And my father would say, "You keep that thing in your pants." Okay, and you better watch your ego. So, you know, and then what I did is when I put a mirror by the door, and I told my kids to look in the mirror before they leave and say every time that I will love, honor, and respect myself tonight. I will not sell myself for love, for contaminated love. You make sure that you make really good decisions and you respect yourself. You feed your spirit and you protect your physical body. So we turn it around. It's all the way you look at it. You know, let me just tell you something. I don't have a lot of room in my higher thinking for most religions. They put a chokehold on you. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So anything that believes that the only way to keep you straight or on course is to give you guilt. Judgment. I call bullshit. I've had enough, and I'm putting it out to all the really religious ones that, you know, we all need to fear God. We need to get our act together. You know, we're sinners. We'll never be good enough. I had enough of that. Don't come on my page. Don't come to my course unless you want to understand that unconditional love, one law. Man, do you actually think that dumbing down God to an old man that 1 minute loves you, 1 minute hates you, that should be in a straitjacket and on some kind of pills just to numb him out? Understand this right now. I am not going back on this. I've seen what I've done. I know this. I've helped millions of people from suicide. I've helped millions of people free themselves up from relationships that they were going to die of cancer, or they were going to die of the diabetes or the kidney disease. There's not one disease that isn't created on an emotional level. And most diseases are created with the relationship with yourself and your significant other. And you better take that to the bank. And I'm telling you something right now. It's only 1 out of 1,000 couples that actually love themselves and each other. 1 out of 1,000. And that's actual truth. That's truth. But no, you know. So how's your relationship? Well, you know, it has its ups and downs. We're working our way through it. Well, how long you been together? 20 years. You're still working your way through it. Okay, I got this. So understand something. There's not one of you. Okay, tell me I'm wrong. Right here. I know on here, people have not been through this 7 days, so they're just going to go, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He should be cut off. That's what they're going to do. There's not one of you, and if there is, put your hand up, that got married, that had unconditional love for yourself, and you weren't needing your partner to fill up your heart because it was empty. Okay? Which one? Which one of you got married and you entered into that relationship with unconditional love for yourself, and guess what? When your husband or wife or your partner was in a mood, okay, or they had cramps and they didn't feel like talking or making love to you or hugging you or kissing you, or when there was something going on and they were struggling inside, guess what? You either said, what did I do wrong? Okay, or how can I fix you? And you couldn't do either, could you? How many of you have fixed your partners? Okay. How many of you have gone through your relationship feeling guilty because you didn't follow through and be the everything? You are my everything. I will die without you. Every time you leave the house and go to work, I just go. When the kids go to school, I just worry so much. Oh my God, the chokehold. And you're going to tell me you're not religious? You're going to tell you're not judging? You're not telling me that you don't have a chokehold on everybody? For God's sakes. And then this one, you know, death, divorce, dying, disease. Does anybody see a pattern here? Okay, I've had enough. And I'm not upset. But I'm not playing the game. And I'm not saying sorry if I bang into someone. I'm going to say, hey, I apologize. I'm not going to say sorry. Sorry is a low vibrational thing. Everybody's walking around, I'm so sorry now. So that's COVID. That's what COVID did. Because of the 6-foot rule. So, you know, anybody can be brainwashed. You know, when somebody, I told you the other day, when somebody bumps into me and they go, oh, so sorry. And I go, no, thanks for touching me. I do. Ask Lori. Thanks for touching me. And they just look at me like, and they smile. And they go, oh, that's kind of nice. I'd like to touch him again. No. First one's free. Okay. So understand this. I don't care what people think, because most people don't think, because most people think that the relationships that we've all had in our marriages are as good as it gets. Well, that's not true. If you came together as spirit beings, and if you were to take my course, just think if you would have taken my course before you got married. Just think if you would have taken my course when you were a teenager. What do you think? Yeah. Your whole life would be different. And guess what? Let me tell you something right now. So let's get into this. Who wrote that crap? To death do us part. So anyway, so we come together, okay? And guess what? We're desperate for love. Every one of you were desperate for love. Because why? Because human beings are emotional beings. Now, I don't mean emotional, well, they are. 99.9% of emotion are all like this. That's 99% of the population. Yes or no? Yes. And if they don't do it outwardly, they do it inwardly. The whole population, except for maybe 1%, is totally emotionally crippled. And they're going to stay that way. Are you okay with that? Because you better be. And then when you're saying, well, I can't find anyone, well, why don't you look for yourself first? And once you find yourself, and understand something, there's one thing that all of the greatest leaders will agree on: what you think happens. And if you use your imagination, and nobody owns your imagination, you will get whatever you want. And every great leader knows that. That's why they're leaders. Oh my God, really? Yeah, but even if they're toxic leaders, even if they're terrorist leaders, they know that whatever they focus on, they will get to have, because that is our God. Our God, what you believe is, they'll get yours. Bill Gates is going to get his, Klaus is going to get his, Trudeau's going to get his, Biden's going to get his. You guys are so full of it. You don't know anything. These guys are so protected. They will never get theirs. So after you're all done, why don't you go and get yours? Why don't you just go and get yours? Mind your own business and go and get yours. And that would be filling up your heart, feeding your spirit, and then letting yourself off the hook for everything you've ever done, anything you're ever going to do. But guess what? If you had one love, one law, unconditional love for yourself, you would never hurt another human being. And if you actually did offend or hurt another human being, even if you didn't, you would want them to explain it, because there's always room to grow. And when you observe, you learn. And when you judge, you burn. And that's it. So you can take your judgment and put it where the light does not shine, because the light does not shine in judgment. And I'm not mad. Oh my God, why does she have to get mad? No, I'm getting intense, because guess what? What if one out of, because right now I've got right now viewing in total, I've got 1,300 people on here live on one platform. So understand something right now. What if I cracked one coconut out of 1,300? I'm successful. Because everybody's programmed to knock themselves off in their families. So, to death do us part. Are you like out of your skull? So I come together, and I love this girl, because that's what happens. We usually get married, and we're not, well, we are adulterated. You're adulterated by the time that you're 12 years old. You're done. You're toast. You're already adulterated. You got so much work to do. And that's why after I get this tour done, I'm going to be working on putting a teenage program together. And I'm going to be working with teenagers, and then my master people will be working mainly with the adults, because I've given up on adults. I'd rather go for the teenagers, because I haven't given up on them, but there's a lot of work. They're a lot of work, because their belief systems are so ingrained. You know, they're crusty, really crusty, and they're just going to stand in it. Like, the first 4 days, nobody knows you, nobody sees you. I mean, getting you to smile was like a crowbar. You know, I'd have to put a crowbar in your mouth just to get your lips apart. And because guess what? You would not smile. Did she smile for the first 2.5 days? She did not smile. And I'd say, watch everyone, watch her smile. She couldn't hold the smile for 3 seconds. It was gone. Oh yeah, but guess what? I said, you're too serious. She goes, whoa, no, that's what got me through. Really? And that's what's going to do you in. That's what's going to do you in, and you know it. You're not happy about not smiling, but you'll stand up for the smiling, not smiling, because your subconscious rules you. So the armor that we still hold, we needed it at one time, but why don't we let it go? So to death do us part. That's really nice. Okay, you're up there with the one you love, to death do us part. What happens when you've been with somebody, okay, for 10 years and they go one way and you go the other? Okay, guess what? We stay together. Why? Okay, why are most people together after 10 years, especially 20 years? It's religion and money. And they would never be together because of money if they didn't have poverty thinking. Now, who taught us poverty thinking? Religion. They shoved it down our throat. Okay, and guess what? Because they work for the psycho elite. And the psychos, they're not elite. There's nothing elite about them. You're not elite until you find yourself. Okay? Well, maybe they have found themselves. But the reality is this, okay, is that most religions work for them. The Catholic Church is totally demonic, you know, but as you go down the scale, okay, and you go down the ladder, and the people that are working in the church and things of this, you know what? They're beautiful people, you know? They're beautiful people. It's like the Masons. If you go to the top, you'll find out that all of the presidents are Masons. You'd find out that everybody's a Mason that is these psychos. But if you come down, you'll find the Masonic Hall, there's Jim and Bob, and they're trying to raise money to get wheelchairs. So the reality is I'm not poo-pooing on people. It's all a setup, and we're all falling for it. So I'm going to go down and I can't wait to get married. Okay, so that I have no wedding ring, but I can't wait to put this chokehold on my finger. Okay, all right, and guess what? When you get married and you put that ring on, okay, you are signing papers with the government that they own your marriage. So, oh, yes, you have no idea that you have been screwed over. Okay, so I want you to next time decide to get married, because most of you get married 3 times because you just want to keep on trying, okay, and keep on keeping your heart empty, and this time it's going to be different, and oh God, if somebody else could open it and fill it for me like a gas tank, geez. Anyways, so why don't you make a ring out of a plant stem or something like that, and then go on the top of a mountain and just go with each other, and then come together as 2 spirit beings created by God Almighty, okay? And that we are on the greatest adventure of our life, and that, guess what? The world is not against us, but we cannot be against ourselves and each other. Okay, you tell me that Lori and I are not, we are spirit partners. We are not spiritual. I don't want to even hear the word spiritual. That's another ism. Okay, I don't even want to hear it. For me, you go ahead and use it all you want. But we are spirit partners. And we do not fight. And we do not suppress our emotions. And we do not lose ourselves and take anything out on each other or ourselves. And we understand that this is a life-threatening, fun-filled cat and mouse game. And we are ahead of it. We also know that those psychos, they're after all of the fearful people, all of the sick people. And guess what? Everybody who's physically sick is sick of mind first. You have sick beliefs, or you wouldn't be physically sick. And you're going to be sick forever because you're not going to change your beliefs, because who's going to come and take a whole life coach course and spend $4,500 on themselves? Oh my God, that's such a fortune. And to spend 9 days, oh my God, to take 9 days and spend $4,500 to change my life for the rest of my life, I'm not going to do that. Everybody's programmed to off themselves. So, to death do us part. Are you like out of your skull? I am not staying with anybody that isn't willing to understand that they are a spirit being. And if you don't have mind expansion, okay, and fill up your own heart, then you're tearing everyone else apart. Why would I stay with a woman or a partner, okay, that is self-loathing, that doesn't believe in themselves and that needs me to constantly fill up their heart to be thankful. Why would I do that? I wouldn't do that. That is not what life is about. And guess what? All of the people that are doing that, you're creating the only virus on this planet called victimitis. And guess what? You are not allowed to love yourself unless you, I get everything from God. I get everything from God. And what were you saying earlier? You're supposed to love your neighbor as you would love yourself. So let's start with that. And if I have unconditional love, do you think that which we call God is going, oh my God, he didn't mention my name today? Do you think that God has an insecurity problem? Yes. Well, what is wrong with you people? That which you call God created the whole universe. It is the highest, brightest frequency. Do you think that it's going for counseling? You think it has a gray beard and it gets grumpy and dumpy and is constipated and can't let go? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with the world? The world's got one problem. You're responsible for filling up your own heart and keeping it that way. You're responsible for becoming the light of your life. Now, everybody says that, guess what? God the Father. Well, I don't think it's a father because it's not a guy. Do you see how it's all messed up? And we always go, he, him. It's not a he or a him because men don't create. They decimate. Women are the carers. They create things. They bring life into the world. So, trust me, the frequency is feminine. I'm telling you right now. I already know that. And it's a frequency and it's a vibration. Because when I give this up, this body, I go back to being a frequency vibration. And we know that you cannot destroy energy. So I'm not worried about leaving this planet. And I'm not worried about all the people on here that would love right now to just tell me to go to hell or go burn in hell. But guess what? It's never going to happen. They're going to burn in hell for trying to tell me to go to hell. Did you know that? And they'll be grumping all day. That Dr. Wolfe, somebody needs to shut him up. Somebody needs to get him. You think I'm kidding?
No.
Yeah, well, you're not going to get me because you have to understand something. I love you anyway. Doesn't matter what your beliefs are. I'm going to love you anyway. So that's why I say when somebody attacks me, you love them anyway. But you don't live with them. You don't sleep with them. You don't hang around with them, but they're family. No, they're damnly. You do not do that. So, okay. To death do us part. I'm never going to die. And the reality is this. If somebody's with me and they're totally miserable because I'm changing and they're not changing, or they are changing and I'm not changing, why would we stay together? Why would we stay together? To keep a low vibration on this planet, to keep our self-worth as low as possible so they could put a diaper on our face and make us wear it for 3 years. And you think I'm wrong? I'm right. So I don't really care. Don't care if the whole world's against me. Because guess what? If nobody wants to come to my courses, you know what? Lori and I, we don't have a lot. We do not have the love of money. We know that money is energy. Without that, I wouldn't have been able to create a $125,000 library on my website that's free to the world. I wouldn't be able to bring out a $250,000 app in about 4 months that will blow everything up. Anybody that wants to come into that app is going to learn how to unconditionally love themselves and the planet and know that the planet's not going to change, that only you can change. So, to death do us part. That's not happening. I'm not going to stay at your house if you're drinking alcohol or smoking or if you're talking about politics or talking about religion. I'm not staying there. I will lovingly make a gentle excuse and I will leave. I will probably call my son, Dr. Sage Wolfe, and say, call me and tell me I'm needed. Because I'm needed somewhere else, because I'm not needed here, because I'm not going to participate. So understand, the best thing I did in my relationship with the mother of my children was to leave it and allow her to go find someone that still vibrates at the level that she's at. Because I would be the terrorist. You have to understand something. Even if you have unconditional love for yourself, you can't give that to another person to teach them that. They've got to want that. So, you got to want it. You can't sell this stuff. I would be torturing her. Do you understand? So I'm not going to torture. I'm going to torture anybody, and I'm going to stay around to be tortured. Oh, I love this one. In sickness and in health. Nobody needs to be sick. So we're already saying, and guess what came first? Sickness came first. And guess what? Most religions are sick. Sick, sick, sick. They're sick. And everybody thinks that that's as good as it gets. And I'm not here and mad at religions. If your church, your religion is making you feel like God unconditionally loves you, hallelujah, brother. Hallelujah. If you feel that you will never, ever, like you still do, walk around, okay, and wondering if God has forgiven you for all the shit you've done. And you know what? That's what keeps you in this relationship that you're in that's killing you. Wow. Really? How crazy is that? Don't say a word. I don't want anybody to know who you are. And guess what? There's only 4 more like you in the same class. Isn't that something? It's everywhere. It's an epidemic. And don't tell me I'm wrong, because I know I'm right. So, in sickness and in health, are you kidding? Nobody needs to be sick. There is no sickness. There's being out of balance. There's being out of harmony. And guess what it is? Does anybody know what would heal all disease? Unconditional love, which created the whole universe has for us. I'm telling you right now, anybody who doesn't like this and anybody that's too religious, just go get your money back. You just got what? 7 days free. Because I'm putting it out there. No, you hear what I'm saying?
I do hear
Yeah, listen, it was never about the money with me.
No.
Okay? This is an adventure to see how many people I can get to fall in love with themselves. And guess what? Guess what? There's people on these platforms. He has to be stopped. He must be stopped. Religion has killed more people than anything else on this planet. And religion is used by the government as a tool to put a chokehold on everyone. Okay? What's the last one? It's about money. What is the last one? Come on, it's in the vows.
Or poor.
What?
For richer for poor.
For richer or poor. I will never be poor. Even when my wife and I separated, okay, she didn't want me doing health anymore. She didn't want me helping people anymore. So I decided not to. So then I took all the money we had and I invested it. I did a really good job because I should have minded my own business and stayed what I was doing. I lost $1.5 million. Yeah. So then when we actually separated, I gave her, okay, between the land and the property, I probably gave her about 1.6. And I kept 75,000. Richer or poor my butt, will you? I will always be abundant. When I came back into business, just so you know, I had $2,200 and asked Lori, $2,200. And I said, Lori, because I was still providing for my kids. I said, Lori, I got $2,200 in the bank. She says, well, Daryl, I've got money. And I said, I don't need it. What do you mean you don't need it? I don't need it. And I don't get into this because my relationship with that which created the universe is my relationship. And I said I didn't need it. 2 days later, a really good friend of mine calls up, Ty Bollinger, and says, hey, we need you for the truth about cancer. So understand something. You can't see around the corner, but that which you call God loves you and wants to give you everything. But because you are a sinner, not a winner, you are a loser, okay? You are self-loathing. You disrespect yourself. You are a beacon. You're only going to get what for the light that is bright. That's it. The reality is, oh, I just don't seem to get what I want. I just don't get to see what I want. I just don't get what I want. Yeah? She gets everything. He gets everything. Yeah. Guess what? I would not be around you. okay, you are in for trouble for the rest of your life. So for richer or poor, okay, there's no way I'm going to be with someone that believes in richer or poor. We're always going to be rich. How do you become rich?
Believe it.
One love, one law, unconditional love for yourself, finding your passion and purpose, because everybody has genius and everybody has a gift. And if you start gifting the world with your gift, that's how you rock this mother thing. This is how you do it. It's like, oh yeah, you know, all of you are out there going, he's going to get his, he's going to get his. You don't even know my relationship with the creator of everything. You have no idea. You think you know me. Isn't it? People will come on here and they think they know me. You ever see the stuff that comes on here? They think they know me. They think they know me. I don't even own a car, for God's sakes. I don't even own a house, for God's sakes. I don't. All of my money has gone into this app, gone into the library, building everything. Oh yeah, he's out there ripping people off, taking money from the dying. Well, most of the population is dying. 86 to 92% of America is got an autoimmune disease, so it wouldn't be hard. I mean, when somebody walks in to come to see me, they're dying. They're dying because they don't know how to love themselves. They're dying because they have what's called an autoimmune disease, which they were attacking themselves on an emotional level, then a physical level. So who am I supposed to work with? God, it's like the insanity is like, oh my God, did you hear that Dr. Wolfe, there was 3 people that he murdered in Mexico. Meanwhile, the one lady never went for therapy. She just came. She was older and she passed on. The other guy came and guess what? He had a heart attack. When I saw him, I said, listen, you're going to have a heart attack. He goes, why? How do you know? And I go, because you have a bulbous nose and it's gray and you might have had one the other night. And he goes, no, I never did. Well, guess what? He died that night with a heart attack and I murdered him. So then guess what? There was another guy who came and he came for therapy, came for cleansing, did the juicing and all that. And then he went back to drugs, prescription drugs, street drugs, and alcohol. And then they said, Dr. Wolfe, one of your patients is dead. You need to go and see. I go down and I go into the room and I go, I don't even know this guy. I never met him. He went for non-surgical. He did the juicing. He got a consult, but he never came to see me. You have to understand something, okay? You have to put the line in the cement, not in the sand. Did you hear me? Okay, take the dog out. You have to put the line in the cement, not in the sand. You got to learn how to unconditionally love yourself and fill up your heart. And that's it. That's your only job. And I promise you that if you do that, you will not hurt another human being. But people will be hurt still by who you are. Because if you don't match others' beliefs, you can come in the circle. Can we make room for them? Come in the circle, please. If you don't match another person's beliefs, everybody has been taught to be offended. If your beliefs do not match mine, you are taught to be offended. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. My God, did anybody notice all the different languages, all the different religions, all the different ethnic groups down here? And guess what? Almost every religion says they're the ones that are going to be led into heaven. Would they get that out of a fortune cookie? We were all created by that which created the universe. And guess what? I know you're not going to like this and you're going to want to beat up on me, but I could actually worship a donut. And guess what? That which created the universe would never judge me. Well, I guess that's where you want to start. Yeah, you've got a long way to go, baby. You know, the reality is being a father to my children, if I had unconditional love, there'd be no judgment, right? So that which created the whole universe has judgment for me. I'm not buying it. And if I bought that, I would not accomplish what I've done. I have only been back in business for 11 years. Started with $2,200. Look what I've got. Look where I'm going. Look what I'm teaching. And surprise, surprise, everyone, just so you know. Oh, this is going to burn everybody's butt. And I'm going to have to get off here because I'm sure bullets are going to come out of the phone. Jesus died because of trying to show unconditional love to the world. Because if the world were to buy into unconditional love, they would never, ever let the abuse from the government, from the church, not all churches, okay, and from all the systems out there, okay, we would allow everyone, okay, okay, guess what? Do you know what you'd have on the planet? You'd never have to forgive anyone. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to hang around with everyone. That doesn't mean if somebody keeps doing something, okay, let me just put this, and then I'm going to let it all go. So, here's the deal. How many people ask for forgiveness to that up there, or to their priest or their minister, okay, and then they end up doing the same thing the next day or a week later? Help me out, guys, because I'm kind of confused here. So understand something. Here's the deal. I will not give anybody forgiveness because I will not judge anyone. I will sit down with them and talk about why they did that, why they said that, why they drank that, why they ate that, why they just rode off my brand new car. You know, I will find out. There will be no judgment on this. Like when my daughter went and took my brand new car and rode it off because she said her sunglasses fell and it was bright, so she wanted to pick them up. So she hit a parked car hard enough that it was written off. Okay, so really, who knows the story? All I said was, sweetie, I love you, but you will never drive my car again until I think that you unconditionally, or you love yourself enough that sunglasses are not going to be important on the floor. So once you bring up your vibration of loving yourself, you will get my car keys again. So this is not a punishment. I just don't want to be responsible and be the guy who put the bullet in the chamber. When actually I know she partied way too hard. And then she probably was trying to turn on the music. So that's it. But I'm not going to tell her what I think. I'm going to tell her what I think about her and that I love her. And that's the way the world needs to go, and it's not going to go that way. Because every one of you are judges. Have I judged anybody here in the whole course? You'll never find it. You might feel like I've judged you, but I'm never going to judge you. What kind of what kind of unfair prick am I to do that? Because you're not even aware that your belief systems make and shape you. Like, you actually believe that your personality is, your personality. You actually believe your personality is your personality, but it's not true. Your personality is only made up of the 5 people that were around you the most from 0 to 7. That's it. That's science. That's real. So cut the crap. So why are you part of that religion? Why do you have that belief? Why do you believe that drinking alcohol every day is okay? Well, because my parents did it. You are what you are. Until you start making different decisions for yourself, you're not making anything for yourself. You are a mixture of the 5 people that raised you, that were the most prominent in your life. That's it. That's real science. So take it or leave it. Doesn't really matter. Most people won't take it because you're not ready for it. What I've done is I've upset some people. They don't want to hear this stuff. And it's not them that doesn't want to hear it. Your subconscious doesn't, because 90% of your brain is your subconscious. And guess what? Who owns your brain? Every system out there owns your brain. You don't own your brain. You don't own your brain. You don't own your brain. And you're actually run by your beliefs. And how many people know that, guess what? I'm not run by my beliefs. No, that's not true. I am. But guess what? They're my beliefs, aren't they? Does anybody understand that I made clear and conscious in the moment decisions that I was going to believe in this, and then I repeated it 10,000 times? I mean, if you do that, you minimize the old beliefs and they fall off to the wayside. That's the only way to get there. That's why people will never change. People aren't going to change unless they're going to be insane. So you want to be insanely miserable and insanely happy. So I'm insanely happy because I do the same thing again. I love and approve myself. I love and approve myself. 3 to 1, I got this. New sheriff in town. I'm never going to do that. I'm going to do this. That's right, because I'm going to feel it, I'm going to hear it, I'm going to think it, I'm going to see it. I've just engaged all my senses, so now I'm coming to my senses. You need to come to your senses and understand something. I have not met, I'm going to make my own religion, and there is no religion. It's just unconditional love, and I already did. One love, one law. And that's all Jesus made. Jesus only was there for one love, one law, unconditional love. Nobody teaches that. Nobody teaches that. Nobody teaches that. Because it's got to be an ism, because guess what? The psychos that got us to put the diaper on our face for 3 years, they're the same people that just get into everything. Tell me that everything beautiful and everything great doesn't get bought up by a corporation and get twisted.
Yes.
You know what? I go and buy something last week in the organic store, and then I got to find out if the business gets popular and people love it, it gets bought up. Bought up. Because understand, those psychos have no money problems because money doesn't exist. That's why United States, not tomorrow, not next month, U.S. currency is going to not be the number one currency. And people don't understand that it's got nothing to do with what you did. They're going to blame you, just like recycling. Meanwhile, it's the corporations. It's the Rockefellers that discovered the oil that said, we're going to make all your shoes into petroleum that you wear. That's why I will not wear shoes, hardly ever, if I don't have to. That's why I will live in a country that I don't have to wear shoes, because I want to stay grounded. Is that okay with everyone? So I try to make my feet as nice as possible. But the reality is, I don't care what people think anymore, because people don't think. And the reality is that these guys are going to buy up anything that's good, and they're going to poison it. So that's why you have to bring it into your heart and find the God spot. That's why you have to do it for yourself and become your own health, love detective. And you don't trust your family. You love your family unconditionally, but you don't trust them. How can you trust your family? You don't even trust yourselves. I trust myself. Do you know how much work that takes? Do you know how much effort that takes? Do you know how much focus that takes? You got to focus a long time. There's very few people like me. I didn't say I was special. I said that I am on guard now, and I've changed and made prominent, dominant beliefs that will not disrespect or dishonor me. So you're going to tell me that if I don't disrespect or dishonor myself at all anymore, that I'm disrespecting you? You will say that because my beliefs don't match yours, because you've been taught that if my beliefs don't match yours, I should burn in hell. Tell me I'm wrong. So see, I don't care what you think. So I got to know that the majority of the population is not going to want to participate in anything that I do, because I'm poo, poo, poo. And I get it. Don't care. You cannot care if you wish to care for everyone. Did you get that?
Yes.
You cannot care what they think, drink, eat, do if you want to care for your brothers and sisters. Mind your own business. And your business is one love, one law, unconditional love for yourself. So guess what? To death do us part. You wouldn't get me saying that ever, ever. For rich or poor. Well, you got your skull. There's not one person in here that doesn't have poverty consciousness. Oh wait, there is one. Myself. And I say this a lot. And I said this before it even happened. When I was down to $2,200, I was the most abundant person on the planet. Because at that time, I had unconditional love for myself. And I needed to. My whole family, my whole world was blowing up. And I had to hold the line. Oh, did I piss people off? When I was going through this whole transformation, my name was Jesus, Buddha. You think you're too good for us. Oh God, please. You got to earn it. You got to earn the right and not fight. You know what? We changed the whole planet if we just had peace inside of here. And if there was space in here. There's no space to replace. It's so full of garbage, BS, bullshit, that time. But it's dysfunctional belief systems. And it's not going to change. Nobody gets this. I don't care about having a room of 10,000 people and preaching. I want to have a room of 10 and be teaching. That unconditional love for yourself is the way. Create your own life by using your imagination. The greatest gift we ever got from God was imagination. And imagination is image. And the image you have for yourself, the image you have for your world, the image you have for everyone else is going to decide your personality. And you don't get it. And most people will never get it. And it's not because they're stupid. It's not because you're stupid. I don't believe that God made the brain. I believe the brain was manipulated down here. Actually manipulated, genetically manipulated. And I really believe that. Or he's got a real, or she, or they have a real sense of humor. Because guess what? It is so difficult to actually change your personality, to create a new reality, to live a life of harmony and peace and unconditional love for yourself. It's very difficult. 1 out of 10,000 people will pull this off. So I'm going to do my best and spend all my money on my new app. I'm going to keep on building up the library that's for free. And I'm going to keep on talking like this. And why? Because I'm very selfish. The more I talk like this, the more I hold the line for myself. The more I understand. And the more I understand the majority of the people, and the more I can love them. You don't love the majority. Nobody here does. You won't until you have unconditional love for yourself and you understand that it's very difficult to change. How do you change when nobody in the family wants to change? How do you change when suffering is the way to the Lord? How do you change? You don't. That's yours. You own that one. Suffering is the way to the Lord. So you go ahead and suffer, but don't come to the next class because you're just going to pull everybody down. Because they can't take it. And I mean that. I'm allowed to say that. I'm allowed to do this too. That when I open up the new clinic, people have to fill out forms. And then we will decide if we want you to come, because guess what? I don't need you leaving and going, he ripped me off. I've had enough of that. You know what? Everybody comes, hi, I've got stage 4 cancer. I'm coming for 10 days. Whoa, that's really cool. Why don't you go to a cancer clinic and go there for 2 weeks, and they'll take $30,000 of your money and you won't say a word. The reality is this: if you're not willing to change your personality, you will not change your reality. The reality is this: you'll get rid of the cancer and you'll reactivate it. That's why people die from it. Very few people do not die from it. Some people have an awakening. It doesn't matter. It could be awakening where I became a born-again Christian or a Buddhist or whatever. But long as it lights you up, baby. Lights you up. Okay? I already know the people in here. You can already tell the intense people. You know, you can tell the ones, they may not be smiling right now, but they have a really nice face of learning. The rest are like, they never smile. Most of you never smile. You only smile when you get your way. You only smile when someone hugs you or kisses you or says thank you. You know, I smile all the time. I'm smiling. Am I smiling all the time inside?
Yes.
Even when I'm being a crazy nut? Because you do understand, everyone, that I have to be a drama king. I have to, because guess what? That's how I cracked the coconut. Did I crack everybody's coconut by the 3rd day?
Yes.
Did you finally realize that you were killing yourself?
Yes.
And that your family was killing you?
Yes.
And now you don't hate your family at all, I hope, and you love them unconditionally right now and understand that they'll probably never change?
That's right.
That's it. They're never going to change. They're never going to change. My family's never going to change, and I'm going to love them anyway. Because the whole world is my family.
Exactly.
And I'm going to love them anyway. You may not like their beliefs. That's okay, but you're not going to focus on it because you only focus on the things you like to eat, drink, think, and do. You're not going to focus on the poo. So you're not going to focus on the beliefs you don't like. You're not going to focus on the things that cause a stink in your life. You're going to go for what you want to go for. And guess what? Know that which created the universe says you can have everything. There is no limit. It all started with for rich or poor. Almost every church talks about poverty. And they will keep you low vibrational. So I'm not picking on everyone. I haven't been to everyone. I know that my father was a born-again Christian pastor. And guess what? It was all about that. So maybe he was the only one. No, I don't think so. There was a lot that came through. But let me tell you this. Do whatever you want. It's your life. You are eternal. And remember something. The whole universe is a PlayStation game. Unless you're going to bring up your vibration, you're not moving to the next level, baby. So you just stay down here and vibrate low with everybody else. Because guess what? Want to believe this? If you're sick, you've got sick beliefs. That's not true. I got it because it was genetic. No, there's no genetic diseases. I apologize, there isn't. Yeah, but I got it because the water was poisoned. Yeah, but you knew the water was poisoned. You still drank it.
Yeah.
You didn't do the research. You didn't understand that planet Earth is a life-threatening, fun-filled adventure. Okay? Where as soon as you get here, mom and dad are trying to kill you because they're trying to kill themselves and they don't even know it. There's not a parent in here that unconditionally loved themselves and even knew how to eat, think, or drink when they had children. Oh, you think you do. But then why are you having trouble with your children? You know what really feels good? Is I really truly believe I didn't say anything to hurt anyone. And it really feels good to stand in the power of unconditional love and just stay there and not care what people think. If you're not willing to risk, your relationships will never change. Why don't you just be a good woman and just stay in your relationship and let the cancer get worse, or let it come back, or struggle all the time? Why don't you be a good man and do that? Why don't you understand something? Well, we've been trying for 10 years to get along, 20 years to get along. Really? Really? You can't go to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or take medication. Go to boot camp like this. And don't come to me, go to someone else, give them the money. But go to someone that's going to go in there and hold the line. Whether you get pissed off or cry and make sure that they do believe in unconditional love and that they're holding the line because they just want you to have everything. And they want you to maybe fall back in love with yourself and your partner. But if that doesn't work out, then you leave your partner and you partner up with your spirit, your soul, your heart, your God-given gifts. Remember something. Eternity is a long time. Wouldn't it be cool if you let yourself off the hook and there was no chokeholds before you leave here? You know, what most people have a problem with, I would never have a problem with leaving here and going on to whatever that is. But when you don't live your truth, and you don't understand there is no death. Why do we use that word? My husband died. I'm getting a divorce. I have a disease. No, you don't. You have a symptom that has never been looked after properly. But now you've embraced your disease because now you can get a whole bunch of people to look after you because you've never gotten the love that you wanted from your family and you've never learned how to love yourself. And if you learn how to love yourself, you don't need the disease because you would be in alignment, which means that your vibration would be where it needed to be and you'd heal. There's the big deal. So that's why every product that I have, I try to get it to be the highest frequency because the product leaves the body, but the frequency stays behind. That's why, because when we talk, do I try to bring your vibration up? Do I try to empower you? Well, that's it, because it's all vibration. Don't give me any BS, okay? Unless you're bringing someone's vibration up and they, at a certain point, they feel that they do not need you, then you are the poison. You are all you need. God has gifted you with everything you want. You shut yourself down. You totally shut yourself down. You've been trying to kill yourself for over 20 years. And you know what? You failed miserably, so stop.
Got it.
And I love you. 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 And I truly do. Okay? Our beliefs may not match, and it doesn't matter. Remember, when we all leave here, we're all going to the same place, whether you want to believe it or not. And you can make up any story you want, okay? Daryl's going to hell. Okay, fine, I'll go. But I'm not going to stay long because it might just burn my hair. Okay? You have a beautiful day. God bless.